I think people fail to realize that Max Verstappen is a 4-time champion, 4-time back-to-back champion.
Yep.
With Red Bull.
Yep.
There's no way you just get up and leave after just a couple terrible races, and we're only halfway through the season.
He stalled the car in the pit lane. Something happened where he had to be out. He hasn't had a great Alpine run at all since he started, and he's a pretty talented driver. I mean, when he was driving, he was with Williams at the time, so this is his time racing with Alpine, and I don't know what's going on with the car. I don't know if it's just him. Maybe he's nervous. Maybe, like you said, with Yuki, he's driving angry. Maybe he's frustrated. Who really knows what's going on? But he really has to get his shit together because there are rumors that Valtteri Bottas might just come in and replace him. But this is gonna allow that battle. But the more Oscar and Lando wind up fighting, the more it gives Max an opportunity to come back. And I have a feeling you cannot sleep on Max.
Oh, I mean,
he will. I have a feeling this guy is gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Matthew's been calling it for a while.
I'm not going to say he won because of us, but play back the clips.
Yes. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode of Turn 14 Podcast.
Oh, my
Might look a little different.
A little bit. Just a little bit different.
Just a little different, a little
Might
hot.
as well. I think we're a New York City-based podcast. Why not take advantage of the beautiful city?
Look at this beautiful view behind us.
Yeah.
So
Silverstone, baby.
Silverstone, yes.
Everyone right
Silverstone.
now who's watching, I'm sure, has the largest smile on their face for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah,
Matthew,
exactly.
we're looking at you. We miss you. We wish you were here. But holy shit.
Hulkenberg, baby.
Oh my
Let's
God.
go.
What
That's all
an
I'm gonna say for right
amazing,
now.
amazing weekend.
Yeah.
Mixed with dry, mixed with wet.
Yeah.
We went to Fela for the
Yes.
race. We did another giveaway. It's just
Yeah, it was a lot
overall,
of fun.
lot
A lot
of
of fun. Shout out to the winners there. We'll get into that in a little bit, but excuse us for all the noise. We wanted to try something different. You might hear some planes,
That's
some
part
boats,
of-
some helicopters, some police.
it's part of being about
Maybe
New
some
York City.
gunfire going
Yeah,
off in the
yeah.
background, New
Yeah,
York
yeah.
City. So let's get into it. So Silverstone, one of the oldest, I think, tracks on the grid.
OG. That's where it all started.
That's where it all started,
The
you know?
birthplace of Formula One, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. So 2 DRS zones. What we have, 16 turns, I believe.
53 laps. Or something
52
like
laps.
52 laps.
Race.
Yep.
You know, you never know what you could get with Silverstone. You know, you got one moment it's sunny, dry. Next thing you know, it starts raining. So let's go into let's start off with qualifying.
Yeah, dude.
So before we get
boy.
into all the fun of the race, this weekend is a home race for a couple of drivers.
Couple different drivers.
We got George Russell, Lando Norris,
Yep.
and
Ollie Behrman.
Ollie Behrman,
Yeah, the rookie.
For
teams, we have
too.
Williams.
And we also have a home race for Lewis Hamilton, Lando
That's
Norris
right,
as
that's
well.
right, yeah.
Can't forget about those two.
It's a big deal.
It was a big deal for a lot of people, especially Lewis Hamilton. For me, being a Lewis Hamilton fan, yeah.
He has to make sure that we have to make sure that we know make it known that
Every
you are
Lewis
a Lewis
Hamilton fan walks into a room and says that they're a Lewis Hamilton fan. So
Yeah, it was a big deal.
If you don't know, you will know
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah.
But no, it was a big deal because it was his first race in red.
Yeah.
Practice, he was quick.
Oh my God! They came with. Did they come with upgrades?
I believe they got upgrades last
race,
last
right?
race, and
Whatever they did
Yeah.
is working.
yeah,
Lewis was rapid throughout the entire weekend.
Yeah, he was.
In fact, I love it because not even quali is exciting, but even watching practice.
Yeah.
Practice, FPs 1s, 2, and 3s are now seemingly quali rounds, which
Yeah.
is so much fun to watch.
yeah, exactly. And what we had, Max with an insane pole lap.
Yeah, I don't
So,
understand it to this day. I don't.
He puts it
understand
together always. And just when you think it's over for him,
Yeah.
and he's struggling to turn the car,
Yeah.
he manages to pull an insane qualifying.
And he does it again though, because through with all the radio communications, all he's saying is, "This is a shit car. We're not
Yeah.
doing well." He makes one change to the wings,
Yeah.
and he pulls ahead by
Yeah.
0.2 of a second.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, Max did a different setup than most people. He had a smaller wing, so faster on the straights.
Yeah.
It worked out great for him.
Yeah.
So his car is not going to be as quick around the corners, but he managed to put a quick lap. And I think for everybody, what we had, Lando Norris, Oscar wind up
Yeah.
messing up. Lewis was on a flying lap, messed up that last corner. He could have been pole position.
Lewis
honestly.
was 0.2 up on the fastest person by the end of the
Dude,
second
I was
sector.
screaming.
I was like,
I was screaming.
I remember tapping Chris. I was like, Lucy's gonna get pole.
He's
Lucy's
gonna get pole. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Like, I was like, babe, be quiet right now. Like, purple sector 1.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
And then
yeah,
it lost.
yeah. It was quite the roller coaster ride. But so we had the starting top 5 was Max Verstappen, Lando Norris.
No, Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri.
Oscar Piastri.
Yeah.
Yes, Lando Norris. Lewis Hamilton, George Russell.
Yeah.
Which is and then we had Leclerc.
Yeah.
Down
I mean,
there, too.
Leclerc, he had a little bit of a meltdown.
Yeah, but it was a battle for 6. The
Yeah.
top 6 were gonna go for it, But when rain comes, you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, quali was one thing.
Yeah.
But then once we start to hear that the forecast is calling for rain.
yeah, it was pouring in the morning, and now the
Yeah.
whole track was wet in the beginning of the race. So that mixes up everything. And next thing you know, before the formation lap, it's sunny out.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you stay out? Do you go in with slicks?
Yeah.
It's all like any strategy that any of these teams win in this weekend, out the window. Out the window completely. Because
Well, I mean, I guess they kind of had an idea that it was going to rain.
Yeah.
It comes down to timing now on what's going to happen. Like, they know, like, by the lap, when it's going to rain, how
Yep.
long it's going to rain for.
Yep.
In fact, but it happened so quickly that after the formation lap, a few people actually went into pit to
Yep.
get switched to slicks, which we all know
Yeah, exactly.
did not work out for them.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, throughout the weekend, Ferrari very, very happy to see that they were quick.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Charles didn't really get to have a great weekend. He seemed to be really beating himself up.
No, yeah. So let's get into it. So starting grid, we had Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, George Russell, and then Hamilton, Leclerc.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Top 10: Alonso, Gasly, Sainz, and then Kimi Antonelli. Top 10.
Kimi got hit with a penalty, didn't he? A three grid penalty.
Yeah, I believe so, for something during I believe qualifying or oh no, this was actually his 3 grid was
for hitting
because
Max.
of Max. The whole
Yep,
situation
yep,
happened
yep.
in Austria, so he got 3 places down. Freaking Ollie Behrman,
Oh my God! Second time. This
second
season.
time, but he made it all the way to
did.
Q3, I believe.
He did.
And he was really doing well,
Yeah.
And I mean, he had that 10th place grid penalty for speeding into the pit lane under red flags too.
Speeding,
so.
and then he fucking
He
crashed.
crashed.
Crashed into the pit, inside of the pit lane.
Yeah, he
I don't
did.
even know how that works.
Yeah, he did. So
Honestly.
I mean, they don't play when it comes to those
Yeah.
speeding in the pit lanes, anything like that, or any of the safety car infringements, even red flag
Yeah,
situations. They really are strict with that stuff.
If
so
anyone knows about the rules, Ollie Behrman knows about the rules.
Yeah, I'm
'Cause
sure
this
he
is
got
already
fined.
second time that he's
Yeah.
done this. This
Yeah.
is what I think it's 3 points to his license. Or
3
something
points
like
as
that.
well to his license, to his super license. So, but yeah. So let's get into the race. I think it was a lot of fucking safety
Yeah, oh
cars.
my God, I lost count after like the 4th safety
It
car.
was like 5-6 safety cars coming out, yellow
flags
left and right.
coming out left and right.
Yeah.
This was insane. So much so that one of the safety cars came out just due to the weather. Simply.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I want to talk about that because I don't understand why they would pull safety car and not just have them switch to full wets.
It's the spray visibility for the driver. So from our perspective watching, and anybody in the grandstands watching, it may not look crazy. It may seem like you could see everything. But if you're sitting that low underneath the car, behind a car too,
Yeah.
you're not seeing shit in front of you. And if the drivers are complaining that they have no visibility, they will pull out a safety car
Yeah.
as well, just for safety reasons. They did this a couple years ago with Spa.
Yeah.
They had to cancel the whole entire race at that point because it was really bad. They couldn't see anything, and they had wets on too.
Yeah.
So they had to pull out the safety car for a couple laps for the safety, obviously for the safety
Yeah.
for the drivers. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm sure everybody was wondering. We had a couple of people
Well,
there at Fela
yeah.
that was saying like, why is the safety car out? Did anybody crash? But
Yeah, that's
mainly
interesting.
just safety for the drivers. Too much
Well,
spray.
it's pretty funny because as the safety cars come out, all you see in the background is just cars going left and then cars going right. And like, oh shit's real. Like people cannot get any type of grip, and they're sliding and slipping all over the place.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was a wild race, as all rain races are.
It mixes up so much. Literally anything can fucking happen.
Anything could happen
with it, which is cool. So we had a couple of safety cars where we had a couple of DNFs. We had Colapinto out, freaking who else
Lawson out.
Lawson out because of Alcon, because of Yuki.
Yeah.
Fucking Yuki, man. Oh man.
Yeah, look, we're gonna have to like give Yuki a call and like, have him come in, because it's not looking good for him.
No, it was not looking good at all.
But
it's
I mean,
really
the first,
unfortunate.
we got Hulkenberg, obviously, and we'll get into that. But the start of the race, surprisingly, was pretty boring. No one really overtook anyone. Maybe Hamilton, I think, did one overtake at the beginning.
George and Lewis were going at it for a bit, but Lewis was wind up able to gain those places back.
Yeah.
I mean, then the first corners when Lawson got out, he got hit going into turn 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe, going down the DRS straight. Alcon was just a passenger of something he had no control over. He had Yuki on the inside corner, Alcon in the middle, Lawson on the out.
Yeah.
In a way, it looked like Lawson kind of turned in a little too much. But, I mean, they're just going to determine it's a racing incident. There's really nothing anybody could really do there because, again, you had Yuki in the inside. Lawson really, again, Alcon couldn't really do anything, and he just so happened to tires. It happens.
Well, it was a very busy day for the pit crews. It was a very busy day for the marshals. It was an absolute shit show. There was at one point back-to-back yellow car, safety cars within like 10 minutes of each other.
No, for sure.
But for us, obviously, it's fun as hell. But for the drivers, it was definitely a lot to kind of handle.
Yeah, exactly. So we had Colapinto, DNF, Lawson, DNF. I think Colapinto had he stalled the car in the pit lane. Something happened where he had to be out. He hasn't had a great Alpine run at all since he started, and he's a pretty talented driver. I mean, when he was driving, he was with Williams at the time, so this is his time racing with Alpine, and I don't know what's going on with the car. I don't know if it's just him. Maybe he's nervous. Maybe, like you said, with Yuki, he's driving angry. Maybe he's frustrated. Who really knows what's going on? But he really has to get his shit together because there are rumors that Valtteri Bottas might just come in and replace him.
I mean, at this point, he hasn't performed as good as Jack Doohan.
Yeah.
He's crashed the car maybe just as much as Jack Doohan has crashed. So, I don't know. Something needs to give. Salvatore needs to figure something out. He thought he made the right move. I don't think he necessarily did.
Alpine just needs to get their whole entire team in order. There's so much going on there. That's like
Gasly's carrying them as much as he can.
Gasly's back must be hurting tremendously right now. So
absolutely.
So we had Bortoletto. He wound up crashing. Hadjar. I'm pretty upset with that one as well. We had almost all rookies out. Really.
Yeah, but looking at Hadjar's camera, the recording, that guy could not see anything. Man.
That's exactly why the safety cars are coming out. Because if it's at that point where, Hadjar he really couldn't see the car in front of him. Unfortunately,
didn't he crash into?
He crashed into Kimi Antonelli. Yeah. And Kimi Antonelli's back diffuser was messed up. And he couldn't really go anymore, so he was another DNF after a couple laps. He had a retired car. So we had in total 5 DNFs, actually, which is unfortunate, So, but one thing, there's a lot of controversy around the whole Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri situation. Let's jump into that. Cause
I know you left a little bit of a kind of, you left your opinion on social, talking a little bit about it. And I know everyone was is Max going to go to Mercedes? I think people fail to realize that Max Verstappen is a 4-time champion, 4-time back-to-back champion with Red Bull. There's no way you just get up and leave after just a couple terrible races. And we're only halfway through the season. So I think... I
don't know.
Yeah, come on. There's no chance he's going to be with Red Bull. Is he appetizing to Toto and the rest of the teams? Absolutely.
100%.
But I don't think Max is that stupid to make such a rash decision based off of what people are talking about. And he even mentioned that he wanted to finish his career in Red Bull. So I see him sticking it out with Red Bull for a very long time.
Well, we'll have to see, because I think Max has been pretty fucking frustrated with Red Bull the past, like, since last year and going into this year. The car hasn't been really there for him, and
his teammates haven't really been there for him.
Again, it's been a Max versus Red Bull. I mean, it's been Max versus McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes for like the past fucking 3-4 years already. And
well, I mean, realistically speaking, let's talk about this. Let's say he does move to Mercedes. What is Mercedes' move? I feel that George Russell feels untouchable.
Yeah, he does.
Which I think Toto don't give a shit about George Russell.
Unfortunately,
I
girly
feel
eyes.
like he would be like, George, figure your shit out. Max, here's some cookies.
Yeah,
like, let's have a good time.
I do think they will take care of him the way they took care, like they take care of George Russell the way they took care of Valtteri. But I think I gave you my opinion before in that long video, but I'm happy to touch on that. Like, there's been a lot of like this back and forth rumors, all that stuff, right? And I think it might be too soon to tell. Right?
Yeah.
For Max to pull the trigger to jumping from Red Bull to Mercedes, I think the time for him to really make that decision will probably be 2026.
Absolutely.
Probably mid-year 2026.
Into 2027.
Into 2027, because 2026, when the new regulations start, kind of back to back to equal playing field for everybody. Nobody really knows what's going to work.
We don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly. Who knows what powertrain is going to be the most powerful, the fastest? Who really knows?
We're talking about active aero, which is going to change the way they drive these cars. It's absolutely unknown. So there's no way that he will make the jump now.
Yeah, but then George doesn't have a contract signed yet for next year, and I know that there was talks about him declining the 1-to-1 year contracts that I think Lewis had. But I think that was more of Lewis's decision more than anything. But they offered him a year-to-year contract, and I think he was just like, no, he wants something more secure, which I get. And I think if Red Bull were to, or Mercedes were to sign Max, and Max was just decide to leave Red Bull, he's going for George's seat, unfortunately. Yeah. They put too much investment into Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah,
he's young, and he's going to stay. However, for George, it might be a good call for him to go to a Red Bull. Maybe he could, I can't really see him in any other team. Maybe an Aston Martin, but we already know those seats are going to be there for a while.
Yeah.
Alonso ain't going nowhere, and Stroll ain't going nowhere, as we all know.
I mean, just to back up George, he has every right to defend himself and push for a larger contract because he deserves it.
100%.
He's very consistent. He's shown leadership with Mercedes. So I give it to him for sticking to his guns and trying to be like, okay, like declining contracts that are not going to fit what he's looking for.
Of course. He's trying to secure his future.
He is someone that I think would be a benefit to any team that he goes to.
Yeah.
But he's still second to Kimi Antonelli. Actually, he's third to Kimi and Max Verstappen. So that's unfortunate. He's in a really weird situation.
Yeah.
But
so if Max winds up leaving Red Bull, and I think I don't know where Yuki's gonna go. I don't know if Yuki's gonna be driving next year. But there's all these rumors about Sebastian Vettel coming back, and that will be quite the story if Sebastian was to come back, join Red Bull, and help with we had a Sebastian Vettel, George Russell pairing for Red Bull would be kind of something out of the blue, honestly.
Well, I mean, let us know. Let us know what you want to do. Like, if you had a magic wand and you can mix up the teams however you want, what would that look like? I think that'd be curious to know. Again, with
you or Max, what would you do?
Yeah.
It's really too soon to tell.
Well, again.
But anyway, so that's that with the whole Red Bull Max.
Yeah.
Situation.
Yeah. I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about like our visit to Fela today.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
Yeah.
The vibe was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
This is a 10 o'clock in the morning race that we're talking about. That people got their ass out of bed on a Sunday to come and watch it, and the vibe was like if it was a 5 p.m., 6 p.m. race.
Yeah, it was pretty packed.
It was awesome. Yeah. And I don't think I would ever experience any other type of fandom the way I experienced Formula One You know, I mean, people may get on me about that, but boy, the vibe was real.
Yeah.
And it was just incredible to see everyone early there. We had Cookie, our cousin, come all the way from Long Island to come and watch our first race. Like, that's sick, man. Yeah. And I think that type of community is what we would love to continue to build.
Yeah,
so it was
exactly.
awesome.
And shout out to the winners that won. We did a giveaway this weekend. We gave away Carlos Sainz Williams hat, number 55, and a Mercedes team jersey.
Yeah.
So,
which is so fire that I actually went to go buy myself one.
yes.
And Crystal got herself the black one.
Of course.
So it's that nice.
Which she's wearing right now.
Yeah. But it was awesome. It was a great time. Fela is always great to us.
Yes.
Shout out to Kevin and the team there.
Yes.
They worked their ass off. Again, they're also waking up early in the morning to kind of...
The whole entire Fela crew, the bartenders, everybody, the waiters, everybody's been great. They've been... you know, again, coming out while all the bars are closed, they're open really early in the morning, giving F1 fans a place where they could all come together and watch the race, which is really awesome.
Yeah. Well,
you know, shout out to the two young ladies that won the prizes.
Yeah.
Definitely more to come.
More to come. More. Look out for a bar near you.
Yeah, we might do something. Yeah.
Might partner with a few more bars around New York City. I think. Let's spread the happiness, the joy, the merch.
Yeah, the merch. It's all official merch too, which is good.
It was a good time.
Yeah, we want to give you guys the best quality. Items.
We just want to show my appreciation and support. I mean,
exactly.
All of this is very new for us, and it's growing very, very fast, and
growing a lot faster than I thought it was. So I'm really happy with that. So let's jump back into the race. So we had that one of the last safety cars that came out with Oscar getting a 10-second penalty.
Oof. Yeah.
Which it's honestly really not like Oscar to pull something like that. I am not entirely sure why.
Yeah.
He tried pulling like a George Russell in Barcelona where he braked really hard.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't know what the dynamic was between like. So for anybody that hasn't watched, I'm sure if you watch the highlights, you'll see it. Under maybe the wet conditions after safety car, Oscar decided to, you know, when you're in first place, you control the pace of the regular cars until you get the nobody's allowed to overtake until you pass the start finish line, and the safety car obviously needs to go into the pit. So typically cars will slow down, kind of wait, you know. Obviously, the idea is to warm up your tires and slow down the pace where everybody else is trying to warm up their tires, but their tires are not going to be as warm as yours.
Yeah.
You're controlling the pace. You kind of start when and wherever you want. But down the straight, forget the name of the straight, but he decided to brake really hard under these wet conditions, and Max literally almost went into the back of his car and passed him briefly. And everybody was just kind of like, what the fuck,
I mean,
honestly.
I think it's a mixture of, I think if it wasn't raining and the splash wasn't as crazy, maybe he could have gotten away with it.
Maybe.
But I think with it being so dangerous, I think FIA was just like, we're not going to take it. And they slapped him with a fat penalty.
Yeah.
Which is unlike Oscar. And he was fucking furious.
He was furious, yeah.
And I don't think I've ever seen Oscar not do it.
His emotions have been coming out more, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's been leading. He cares. And he's never been this close to a world championship before. So I think he's just like, these fucking little mistakes, these little things are going to cost them a championship. Right now, his closest rival is Lando.
Yeah.
You know, third Max. And I wouldn't be surprised if Max pulls off some crazy shit and is up there fighting we have a three-way battle for the title. You know, I mean, it might be a little too late now, but I think, especially so again, also following the safety car situation with Oscar, right into one of the last couple of corners, going into the pit, fucking Max spins out.
Oh yeah.
I know he was pissed. Yeah. He was driving really well, trying to keep Lando back.
Yeah.
And then he spins out. And then he has to make up places, so there goes points for him, you know? So I'm sure he's pissed. Yeah. He's frustrated about this whole situation.
Well,
and I think a lot of that is a result of, you know, Oscar's move definitely allowed for Max's tires not to be as coated. And also one thing that people need to understand when you're racing in the wets or intermediate tires, you'll start getting a dry line, but the intermediates need to stay at a certain operating temperature. And you'll notice that a lot of drivers are pulling off to the side in the wet.
Oh, yeah.
And staying off, cooling off the tires because they tend to heat up very quick if you're on the dry intermediates. Again, they operate at a different temp than the slicks. So the more heat in those intermediates, the less traction you're going to get. So you start to see a lot of drivers driving onto the wet, coming right back. So this is everybody following, going down the straight. You see a lot of people kind of going off to the right a little bit into the, and not take, they're coming off the racing line, going right back in.
Yeah, I mean,
just because of
the
all
strategies were all over the place today. We had people swapping on hards. Yeah. Then the next lap they swapped on wets again. Yeah. It was all over the place.
It's tricky to tell, man, because like you hear the radios. They're saying in the next like 10-5 laps you're gonna get a downpour. Yeah, so it's like, do you, and then in the middle everybody's driving when it's dry out on intermediate. So it's either you stick it out, or do you pit for slicks to try to gain some places in hopes that there's a safety car. Yeah. There's a lot of shit going on, and I think a lot of people made mistakes, including Charles Leclerc. They fucked up his strategy, and I think they should have just followed what everybody on the top was doing. He went out in some hards and some mediums, I think.
Yeah, that was wild.
And then he went off the track straight into maggots and
he pretty much cut the entire,
entire thing, which I've done before in the game plenty of times. Not,
well, I mean, so Oscar's thing kind of opened the door for our boy Lando.
Yeah, for Lando.
And by the way, the whole Lando stands, the whole thing that they did for him was so awesome.
Yeah, it was.
And I think they should do that more for a lot more of the drivers. Yeah. And kind of showcase like the drivers out there and give them the flowers that they need. But it was super cool.
It was cool,
to see Lando's home race. It opened the door for him.
First time.
Yep. And he drove pretty well.
He
didn't
did.
do anything
I'll give him
stupid,
his props.
Thankfully.
Yeah, it's like it's switching.
Yeah.
But this is going to allow that battle. But the more Oscar and Lando wind up fighting, the more it gives Max an opportunity to come back. And I have a feeling you cannot sleep on Max.
Oh, I mean,
he will. I have a feeling this guy is going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And he's again, like I've said before, probably the third, maybe now with the upgrades that Ferrari has, probably the fourth fastest car.
Yeah.
And he managed to pull a pole. Like, it is insane. For anybody to not give this guy his flowers, it's just, you're just a hater at this point, It
don't make sense.
I give Max so much props for his performance this weekend, and even though it didn't really turn out the way he wanted, I feel like he's still in the run for the battle, and you just never really know.
Count him out.
Never count Max out. Never count out Max. But with that whole mix-up, not only did it give Lando the opportunity to come in, and it gave our boy, Matt, Nico.
That's all you heard at the bar.
Yeah, everybody. Nico. Yes,
I'm not going to lie. When he crossed, I started to get a little emotional. I'm not going to lie.
Imagine.
And then he got emotional.
Yeah, hell
that fucked me up because I was getting even more emotional.
Yeah, that's great. It's like when last year when Lewis got the win for Silverstone after not winning for almost 2 years.
Yeah.
He got his first win after a long time. But Nico getting his, for anybody that doesn't know, Nico hasn't gotten podium his whole entire Formula One career.
200 plus Grand Prix.
Yeah. Not one time has he stood up there. So for him to get a podium was a huge deal.
Yeah.
For him, for anybody that's a Formula One fan, and for the team, it was very emotional. It was awesome. We've been calling it for a while. Matthew's been calling it for a while.
I'm not going to say he won because of us, but play back the clips.
Yes.
Look at all of the episodes before.
Yeah.
We manifested this for Mr. Nico Hulkenberg. So if you don't at least like our posts, Mr. Hulkenberg, we may have to do it the other way. But no, all jokes aside, I think it was super cool to be a part of that, to see that emotion out of him, to see him smile on the podium, to to just hold up a trophy for once.
A Lego one at that.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna have to give him like a legit one.
They actually have to give him.
But it was
trophy.
a very, very special race for a lot of different people. So that was really cool to be a part of that.
Yeah, it was really cool, and I'm sure Matthew, he's not able to make the episode today. He's gonna give his thoughts separately. He's gonna record something himself, but I'm sure Matthew was pretty fucking excited,
dude,
screaming probably.
I think he told me that he may cry.
Yeah,
if he were to get podium.
Yeah, I know. But it would have been amazing for Matthew to be here to witness it all together. Would have been awesome. But shout out to Nico Hulkenberg, man. Yeah. You deserve that podium. You drove really well. You know, this is what I'm saying about rain. And if you're new to F1, I recommend, if you have an opportunity to watch a race when it's raining, it's always great to introduce a new fan.
Absolutely.
On a race when it's raining.
Absolutely.
Because you just never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So
it was great. Again,
it was great,
from the whole entire weekend, we already know Silverstone is special.
Yeah.
But it really kind of, came to the table and absolutely blew us all away.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So anything else that happened that we should I'm trying to think.
No, I mean that's probably the
highlights,
biggest
really.
highlights of it.
Yeah.
Silverstone's a spectacle. Great celebs came out. It delivered in terms of excitement.
Yep.
Nico got his first podium, which is going to be probably the highlight of the weekend, unfortunately for Lando. But
I mean, Lewis's streak is over for since 2014. He's been getting podiums at Silverstone, but
I hope this weekend though gave Lewis some hope.
No, absolutely,
because he was rapid.
Yeah, he was rapid, and I think he drove a really great race. And I think Ferrari really did well with their strategy this weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a lot that they had no control over, the weather and the amount of safety cars that were coming out just fucking threw everybody off.
Yeah.
So, shout out to Ferrari for doing a pretty good job this weekend, and I think, let's see what happens the next one. So right now, the standings are, we still got Oscar Piastri in this drivers. Still leading the Drivers' Championship. We have at 234. We have Lando Norris creeping right behind him at a 226.
20s, yeah. Love that.
Max Verstappen, 165. George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Hamilton, Kimi Antonelli. Oh, wow, look at that. Kimi Antonelli is the only rookie up there. We got fucking Albon and then Nico Hulkenberg, 9.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go. And for anybody that doesn't know, the Kick Sauber car is really not that great, but they've been doing really fucking well. But it only took them since 2021 to get their car to a point where it's actually fucking getting podiums and points, which is great.
Fourth race that they've gotten points.
Yeah.
In a row.
Yeah.
So Audi is going to come through as they upgrade to Audi.
Let's go.
Hopefully things will look good.
Let's
go. What an amazing ass weekend. Is that a crow? God damn. That's so funny.
That is so funny. We got McLaren leading the Constructors' Championship, and then we have Ferrari right behind them. And as we mentioned, you'll probably hear a lot of shit going on in the background of this episode.
Yeah.
Mercedes in,
New York for you.
in 3, and then we got Red Bull in 4th, and Williams. Kick Sauber in 6th place, above Racing Bulls, Aston Martin, Haas, and Alpine.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, honestly. And I think a lot of that has to do with their past couple of races, them getting points, all that stuff.
100%.
So, and this is definitely going to help them a lot.
100%.
All right, so our next race that we have coming up is Belgium.
Hell yeah.
Spa,
baby.
Hell yeah.
That's one of my favorite tracks.
One of my favorite tracks, too. We got a Rouge, one of the most uphill corners, very high speed, the longest race of the season. So this is going to be quite exciting. I can't wait for us to go into that. Who knows? We might do just stay tuned, guys. We're going to try to do another giveaway. It's just a matter of figuring out when and where.
Yeah, no.
And what items.
We're planning. The wheels are turning. We're trying to figure things out. We're trying to reach out to many people. If there's a bar near you that you feel like hosts a lot of F1, and we can make it, I would love to drop by and do something like that.
Yeah.
But one thing I did want to say right before we end this up, shout out to Ava Dobson.
Ooh, Ava.
She finished P18, I think, something like that. But she made up a whole bunch of spots.
Yeah.
She got to drive Silverstone. So
on F1 weekend.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ava, first interview with us,
our
so
first guest.
it's something special. You know, this weekend overall was just a lot going on.
A lot of big things.
You know, I'm really happy that she was able to like race for F4, which is really cool. You know, there's a lot of big things that girl got going on.
It's the future.
Yeah,
it's the future for sure.
Yeah, you know, so big shout out to Ava Dobson. Keep doing your thing. We're rooting for you always. We got to support our American drivers. And for any of the fans that are out there that want to kind of give their take, you know, speak their mind, give their opinions, we are planning to do something to have the fans on the pod. If you're interested, please DM us.
Yeah, let us know.
Comment. Let us know you're interested. If you know, anybody that want to be in front of a camera will be recorded and all, just let us know. But other than that, like, we'll probably reach out to a couple of people as well. Some of the favorite people that are constantly there, you know. And anytime you see us at the bar too, don't be afraid to come say hi, chat it up, ask us questions. We're open to doing it all. We this is new to us, so, and I'm just happy that so many people are getting into this sport.
Yeah,
you know?
man,
so
it's been fun.
It's been a lot of fun. So,
awesome.
Well, I think that's everything.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap
obviously,
it up. It's fucking hot.
Follow us, Turn 14 Podcast on all of the channels.
Yeah.
We appreciate the support. On to the next race.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Let's see what happens.
Sweet.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Peace.
Peace. Woo, it's hot.
Guys, I'm burnt.
I am burning too.
I'm burnt. I'm burnt.